Hello everyone! As Dasara is coming up, I thought I'd create a makeup look that you can use to get dressed on Dasara. I know people would want to be stepping it up a notch on festival days, but I don't want to do something too complicated because sometimes you have very little time and maybe you have very few products as well with you. So I just want to keep it a very basic but a glowy golden look that you can wear with any of your Indian outfits and it would look really nice. It will be quite simple, I promise. The key to good makeup is always skincare, so I'm starting off moisturizing my skin with this L'Oreal Hydrogeneous Aloe Water. It's a very lightweight moisturizer. Because I'm going to be laying on a number of products, I don't want to be using a thick occlusive moisturizer. So once I've done that, I'll also use sunscreen and then I'll be putting in a lot of lip balm to make sure my lips are prepared for when it comes time to put on lipstick. I'm starting off the makeup with my eyebrows, so first I'll just pull them upwards, comb them through. This is an important tool you'll need to have in your cabinet. This is a spoolie brush with an eyebrow brush at the end. It's an angled one. You don't need to invest a lot of money in this, anything cheap would do. And I want the focus of this look to be on the eyes because if you're going out you'll be wearing a mask and that's all will be seen really. And so I want to focus on getting the brows right. You can do this one of two ways. You can use your kajal pencil, a thick one, and you can dip this brush into the kajal and put it on, or you can use a black eyeshadow if you have some. I'm going to be using this Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel, and I'm going to be placing this one's very pigmented, so I'm going to be placing this with a very light hand only in the corners where I need some help. And then as usual I'm going to be starting with my eyes, and I'm using an eyeshadow primer to ensure that my eyeshadow is long lasting. If you don't have an eyeshadow primer, what you can do is you can use a concealer in the same manner, just place it all along your lid and then that creates a base for your eyeshadow to stick on. And I'm just dabbing it with my fingers. Then I'll be using a fluffy brush to dip into a warm brown shade. And I'm going to be placing this on the outer corners of my eye. So I'm just placing this with a very light hand just to give some shading to the eye. I'm using a very light hand because you don't want to overdo the brown. Next I'll use this Urban Decay Liquid Moon Dust liquid eyeshadow, or cream eyeshadow really, in golden. You can skip this step if you're using a powder eyeshadow palette, but I just want to use this so that again it serves as a base for the eyeshadow to stick onto and stay much longer. So I'm just placing this directly in the center of my eyelid. Once I've done this, I'm using a flat shader brush, dipping it into the same golden bronze color from an eyeshadow palette, and then intensifying that by just placing that eyeshadow over the liquid cream. I'm going to be dabbing this almost all over, but taking care not to go above that brown line we've made before. Like I said, I want to keep this look simple, so then I'm just going to use a large fluffy blending brush, a clean one. I'm not using any product on this. And then just slowly combining these two shades in the crease so that they act as one. And also removing all the harsh lines in between. Next, I'll use a detail brush. You can even use the same brush that we used for the eyebrows, and dip into that dark brown color again and place it this time on the bottom eyelid as your bottom line, and then just placing it, not rubbing, just placing it on the bottom lid line. I'm also taking it slightly upwards just to give the eye some definition. And now that I have this guideline, I'm going to be using a black eyeliner and again tracing along the same line, pointing towards the eyebrow. I'm going to do a winged liner. First, look straight into the mirror and then from the bottom of the eyelid towards the end of the brow. Next, I'm going to fill in this line by drawing into the third quarter of the guideline and then just bringing it down. Notice that I've not brought the black eyeliner all the way into the lid because I want to keep the golden sparkle showing, and also I want my eyes to look a bit bigger. Next, I'm taking a black kohl pencil and doing the same, extending this wing onto the bottom lid, and I'm not going inside the waterline, I'm just keeping it on the outside till about the center of my eye, again to give it that extra definition. Before I finish off my eyeshadow look, I'm going to put in concealer in this inner corner here because it can be later difficult to do this right. So I'm going to place some concealer here and also directly underneath my eye. And I'll just blend this with my finger today. I'm just dabbing this in, not trying to rub the delicate skin around your eyes. And then to finish off the eyes, I'll take a very golden shimmer and place it directly in this inner corner to give that extra sparkle to my eyes. Now that the eyeshadow is done, I'll be placing some eye cream under my eyes, and this one's actually an eye cream that also gives you a little bit of a sparkle. So I'm just going to be placing this underneath my eyes, and again in gentle dabbing motions. This will allow your concealer to sit for longer without being too dry or settling into your fine lines if you have any, like I do. Now for the face makeup, you can do one of two things. One, you can go with the foundation primer. This one is something that produces radiance, it gives you that glow already, and then top it off with my beautiful Bobbi Brown foundation. But I know that most of you don't have the perfect foundation just yet, and so I'm going to show you what I would do if I didn't have a perfect foundation. So this one is an example of for foundation which is good but not perfect for me. So what I'm going to be doing here is taking these radiance drops or any gold highlighter. It has to be gold because most South Asian skin tones have a yellow undertone to it, which would be really nice if you have a golden undertone to your foundation as well. So I'm going to be taking these radiance drops. They're somewhat like gold shimmer drops. You can find an equivalent of this anywhere really. This one's almost over, so I'm having to just pour it out straight out of the can. I'm taking a very little amount, and then I'm using just one pump of foundation first, or one squirt. So there you go. And I'll mix these two in my hand, or you can use a makeup palette. And I'm mixing these two first here, getting it onto the brush, and starting with the center of the face. So that's the two cheeks here. And then just blending that out. You want to have a very, very thin layer first, and from there you can build as much as you need to. Want a very light hand and light strokes. Not putting anything under the eye just yet because I want to use concealer there, and also I'm letting the eye cream rest, do its job, and also not doing too much on the forehead because I don't want my forehead to be too shiny. It's shiny enough as it is. So I'm just spreading the foundation as best as I can. Never forget, oops, never forget the neck. Always bring it down to your neck. And around this mouth area. So there are two benefits. One, it nicely evens out your foundation, and two, it gives you that glowing from within look. This is also a helpful technique if you have really oily skin, because you don't want to be using highlighters at the end that will make your skin really attractive to the oil. This just looks like your skin is glowing, but you don't have a ton of product on your face that'll lead your skin to produce even more oil. Trying to manage that. Then I'm going to be using the matte concealer. It's important to use matte because you don't want to be a shine bomb at the end of the day. So I'm going to be using this matte concealer. I'm going to be placing it directly where most of the darkness is. And then for the rest, I'm going to be taking small dots and placing them around the eye. I'm also going to be using concealer in further dark parts of my face, such as this mouth area. Got a spotlight thing here. And on my lips. Because I already have some product on my face, I'm going to be using a fluffier brush to blend all this in, rather than a flat one. And I'm just using this in buffing circular motions to make sure it blends not only into itself but also into the foundation we've used. If I used a flat brush for this, it would sort of blend in patches rather than circles, and that would make it harder to blend seamlessly to mix into the foundation, so to speak. So just now I have so much gold going on in my lids, I don't want the under eye to be a bit flat. So what I'll do is I'll take this glowy concealer that I have. It's concealer, but it has a few golden particles in it as well. But I'm going to be using a very, very tiny amount just in this crease here. I'm going to place one drop, and again blend that in to make sure there's something glowy there as well. And lastly, I'm going to be dipping back into that golden shade with the sharp edge of a flat eyeshadow brush. I'm going to be brushing that slightly on the under eye. To bring the gold. Okay, there you go. Then of course I'd curl my lashes, especially if it's going to be a long festival day. I'm curling it from the top once more. I know this looks awfully scary. And then putting on mascara, of course. Going as deep as I can into the bottom of those lashes. Making sure all of the lashes, even the small inner ones, are coated at the roots, and then just wiggling the wand through to the top, making sure all the lashes are covered. I'd also roll the wand slowly and then just comb them through again. I could take you through a whole contour routine, but I said I'd keep it simple. So I'm just going to be using a bronzer, and this is a matte bronzer. You can also use a slightly shiny one, and I'm just going to be placing this on the sides of my cheeks just to give myself some definition. I'm not going to be doing full contour today. On my jawline, on the top of my forehead, the sides of my forehead rather, and actually a little bit maybe on the top as well. This brown really complements the golden look you've got going on, so it would be similar to what you have on your eyeshadow here. Okay. For blush, I want to be using a mauvey, browny kind of pink, but also with a little bit of glow. So I'm going to be using this last shade, the deepest shade, but making sure I have a light hand. I'm taking quite a bit onto the brush. I have quite a bit of product here, but I'm not going to be putting this directly and solidly onto my face. Instead, I'm just going to be using light strokes to sort of have a whisper finish. There you go. The same thing. You don't want it to be too light because then it wouldn't blend well into your golden look. So you want the blush to show, but not too much. So I'm just caressing this away. I quite like how that's looking. And then just maybe putting a little bit of the apple of my cheeks as well. I'm also going to be putting it on the nose to sort of blend it all. It's looking quite good. If you feel like it's too much, you can always tone it down with powder at the end, so it's fine. Okay. Before going any further with highlight, I'm going to be using lipstick so that I can pull the whole look together and see what more do I need, because you know, I've got quite a glowy base, I've got quite strong blush going on here, so do I really need a lot more? Let me put on lipstick and then we'll see how we feel. I'm going to be using a dark red lipstick because this is something most people would have and would also go with most outfits that Indians would wear for festivals. Okay, what do we think? Are we made up enough or do we want some highlight? For me, I think it's good, especially when you're wearing an Indian outfit with a lot of embellishments and jewelry and big bindi and all these things. But if you are someone who likes a lot of bling, then I'll just show you what it would look like with an extra highlight, and then we can take it from there. So I'm going to be using a powder highlight because everything else is almost done. I've used a powder blush as well. And I'm just going to be placing this where the blush ends onto the hairline. So this would be directly on the cheekbone. Just blending that in there. Also, we're going to be doing some on my nose because it looked very good last time. I'm going to leave that there. Lastly, I'm going to be using a sheer powder. Actually, this is with it's like a powder foundation, but I'm going to be using it with a very light hand and applying it all over my face just to bring all these elements together into one cohesive look. It's really just a dusting level, and yeah, that's it. I'm done, and I can wear my Indian outfits, put on a bunch of earrings, and look so nice. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. Thanks, bye bye.